Today, many of us tend to live our lives in a linear progression. We look at what we need to do this minute, need to finish this day, and tend to take things on as they come. We tend to live in the present, and this is what is preached by contemporary psychologists and contemporary life coaches, to not live in the future or the past, but to figure our lives out as they exist currently. And while this living in the present is necessary to attain success, as Socrates stated over 2,000 years ago, an unexamined life is not worth living. Our life simply is not a day-to-day progression, because as human beings we came to this earth with a purpose, a firmly rooted destiny in society. And it is this larger goal and our larger picture in 200,000 years of human history, of where we fall in a grand scheme that helps us live our better lives, that helps us figure out who we are, what we need to become. It is this understanding of where we fit in the larger picture that helps us develop our goals, our realistic expectations, that gives us something to strive towards. Living now doesn't help us in the long run, because when we're living in the present, there is no chance for growth. Stanford psychologist Carl Dweck, Dr. Carl Dweck, developed a growingly popular psychology called the growth mindset. This is a phenomenon that's sweeping educational institutions across the country, being adopted by schools and universities. But what is growth mindset? Growth mindset is a psychological belief of ourselves that we can continually grow, that we didn't come to this earth with a fixed set of skills, but that we, through our interactions with our environment, continually grow and develop. But how do we grow? How do we prosper and thrive and excel? How do we move forward from where we are if we do not first understand where we are standing? And it is this understanding of where we are that is the examination that Socrates is speaking about. It is this understanding of where we are, of what we need to do. It is our understanding of our weaknesses and our strengths that allow us to move forward. Walyak, a Seattle-based startup, has built a career based on this very thing. They help analyze businesses from an outside perspective, because businesses understand that it is this analysis, this unbiased analysis of where we are, this examination to move forward. And what works for these corporations is very similarly applicable in our lives as ordinary human beings. Because no matter how small we are, we still have the complexity of a human being. And you cannot alter this complexity. You cannot alter our dynamics. You cannot alter our composition without first understanding what it is. In 1922, Sophia Rodnam published an acclaimed bestseller, Clockwork Orange. In this story, the main character is a child named Alex. This teenager is perhaps unconventional. A gangster and criminal. He lives on the streets and fights, and is a drug addict, an alcohol addict, and a murderer, a robber. But these aren't part of his life. He simply does them on the spur of an instinct. And it takes being betrayed by one of his gang members to the police. And it takes a jail sentence to make him say, wait a minute, where am I going with my life? He thinks of his ambitions as a youth, as a child that he had once. And he thinks of how far he has strayed from that. And it's not until he takes this moment to think that he's able to correct himself. And it is not until we examine where we are, that we understand our position in this world, that we understand who we are, that we're able to improve that person, us, ourselves. So how exactly do we analyze and examine our lives as Socrates intended for us to do? Life coach Steve Slicer has very simple advice that all of us can incorporate in our everyday lives. Every morning when you wake up, ask yourself a single question. What do you want to change today? What is the one thing you're going to do today to make yourself a better person? No matter how incremental, no matter how small that change. If you do this every morning, Choose a goal and make that goal the focus of your day. And through the progression of a lifetime, through so many days, you are eventually going to become a dramatically different person. You are going to become a different individual persona, eliminated of many of the bad habits that you yourself sought to change. And there is nothing better than the feeling of accomplishment that comes after you yourself and through your own work and toil were able to improve who you are overall as a person. So as I said in the beginning, life is about what we can give back. Life is about how we make the world around us a better place. As Socrates calls it, the morta de viva, your goal in life, the purpose, the reason you were sent here. That is what we need to find. Every major entrepreneur, from Larry Page, Steve Jobs, all the way back to John Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, their goal wasn't to make money to help change the current situation. And while the monetary benefits were a byproduct, the goal was to change society. The goal was to see how their product could change the human race. And in the case of all those entrepreneurs, it has revolutionized how we live our lives and how we define humanity. And to make changes such as these, we must start with ourselves. To change society, we must first change who we are. And to properly do so, we must do what Socrates said over 2,000 years ago and examine our life, because an unexamined life is not worth living. Thank you.